There were days when I felt completely lost in my own life, trapped in frustration and exhaustion, losing my motivation and letting old habits drag me from one day to the next. I once had big goals, but my actions were scattered and impulsive, more like Bart Simpson than steady Ben Franklin. I know what it's like to stumble through life, to hit the very edge of my limits, to wonder, is there any way forward for me? In a fast-paced world where it's all too easy to get swept away by routine, you are called to be the warrior who lives with intention and awareness. Change doesn't demand some earth-shattering event. It starts with small, deliberate actions. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. 7 days. In just 7 days, these 5 habits transformed the way I live, work, and see myself. Whether you're struggling with energy, focus, or just feeling lost, I believe this journey can make a difference for you. Pause, be present, and start by leaving a comment. I rise, I focus. Join me and begin the journey to mastering your mind today. Habit number 1. Wake up at dawn and own the morning. Time is working against us, and all of us go through those busy days, don't we? Days when work, messages, and notifications blend together into a rushed stream that pulls us further away from ourselves. On those days, life stops feeling like a journey of discovery and turns into a string of tasks to finish, a race with no finish line. I used to get caught in those cycles too. I know what it's like to wake up already exhausted, sprinting after a schedule, feeling like you can't even catch your breath before facing new pressures. And just like you, I once thought, maybe I'm not cut out for the lifestyle of Tim Cook or Jeff Bezos. Why wake up at 4 a.m. when I'm not a CEO? But Stoicism, that ancient philosophy, reveals something simple yet profound. Dawn is when our willpower is at its strongest and our minds are at their clearest. Not so we can race anyone else, but so we can actually own the day we're given. The sun rises every morning without ever negotiating with the horizon, unafraid of clouds, never delaying for even a second. That consistency, that absolute discipline of the sun, is the model for anyone who truly wants to take charge of their life. We often let our mornings slip by unconsciously, hitting snooze, checking our phones while our eyes are barely open, then rushing to get ready in a reactive state, as if we're just hurried passengers on a train that's already left the station. But you know what? The moment you open your eyes, your choice isn't just sleep a bit longer or get up now. It's the choice between leading and being led. Every time you delay, you're letting laziness win by default. Every time you decide to get up, you're laying another brick in the foundation of your own resilience. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, used to rise before Rome awoke. In his meditations, he wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." He treated the morning as a sacred ritual to prepare his mind for the day's challenges, a moment to reconnect with himself before the chaos of the world arrived. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. Just set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier than usual. When it rings, try counting down in your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't think, don't negotiate, just stand up. Don't reach for your phone. Don't drag out the sluggishness. Instead, drink a glass of cool water, stretch deeply, look outside, whether the sun is shining or the mist hangs heavy, and take 3 long breaths. Tell yourself, I am here. I am alive. I have today. Feel your own presence, not your deadlines, not your emails, but the energy and vitality inside you. The first 3 days might be tough. Your body will complain. Old habits will pull you back. But then, one morning, you'll find yourself waking up before the alarm, feeling lighter, clearer, even noticing the sound of birds outside your window, the kind of sound you haven't really listened to in a long time. That's when you have real time to prepare yourself before the world starts demanding everything from you. Notice this. If you start your day in a rush, the whole day will keep chasing that same hurried pace. If you start with anxiety, you carry an endless string of tension with you. But if you begin your morning with calm, gratitude and presence, everything, even the challenges, feels lighter and more manageable. This isn't magic. It's the science of the mind and emotions, a self-regulating mechanism built from small habits. Here's what's interesting. Waking up early isn't about proving anything to anyone but yourself. It's a way of telling yourself that you deserve peace, agency, and preparation. Discipline isn't pressure, it's a kind of freedom. Freedom from procrastination, from being controlled by circumstances, from that feeling of being swept along without knowing what you really want. Stoic philosophy calls this premeditatio malorum, preparing your mind for uncertainty. It's not about pessimism or worrying needlessly. It's about actively meeting challenges with a calm mindset. You can't control everything that happens out there, but you absolutely can control how you start your day. That's your personal power, and no one can take it from you. Ryan Holiday, one of the most inspiring voices on modern Stoicism, once wrote, "If you win the morning, you win the day." I've seen this for myself. After just 1 week, I noticed the difference. I was more focused at work, more emotionally steady, and no longer felt lost in the chaos of daily tasks. You'll realize that every time you keep a small promise to yourself, like getting up early without making excuses, you're building a foundation for your own self-trust. Trusting yourself is the core strength behind any lasting change. Remember, the sun doesn't wait for anyone, and you don't have to wait to take charge of your life. Right now, declare, the sun doesn't wait, neither should you. I own my mornings and I own my life. And that's the first step to freedom. Habit number 2, 30 minutes of daily reflection. Imagine walking into a small room where all the noise of the outside world suddenly vanishes. On the table sits an hourglass. 30 minutes is just a pinch of time, so tiny in the relentless spin of the world. You take a seat, no phone, no notifications, just you and this quiet space. What will you do with these 30 minutes? Will you master your mind, or let it wander through a maze of distractions? Maybe, like me, you've rushed through life, swept along from one deadline to the next reminder, only to end each night with a vague emptiness. We think that if we just push a little harder, run a little faster, pack our days with tasks, everything will fall into place. But the truth is, what we lack most isn't time. It's the space for our minds to truly see ourselves. How long has it been since you last listened to the deepest, calmest, wisest version of yourself? That version is still there, buried beneath the dust of constant commotion, waiting to be called forth. That's when I started the Stoic habit of daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius, whether on the battlefield or in a palace, always took time at the end of the day to converse with himself. Seneca, before drifting off to sleep, would ask himself, "What bad habit did I correct today? What temptation did I resist? In what way did I improve?" They didn't do this to scold themselves or to chase after a perfect day. They did it because they understood. Without reflection, we simply repeat old mistakes. Without self-examination, every success is just noise, and every failure becomes an unsolvable burden. Setting aside 30 minutes a day is about creating a sacred distance between experience and reaction. It's when you allow yourself to digest life instead of just swallowing it whole, so that every moment isn't wasted but transformed into living wisdom. As Seneca said, "No one is happy without self-awareness. Wealth without wisdom is nothing but a burden." This habit doesn't require elaborate rituals. Just pick a time, morning or night, ideally at night when the day has settled and everything is done. Find a quiet corner, turn off every device, and sit down as if this is your own sanctuary of stillness. You can journal, meditate, pray, or simply sit and reflect. Start with simple questions. What challenged me today? How did I respond? Was it aligned with the person I want to become? What did I learn? What am I grateful for? How will I do things differently tomorrow? If you need a role model, remember Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled a vast empire, yet never skipped writing down every thought, every doubt, every moment of weakness or clarity. He didn't write for posterity. He wrote to remind himself of what mattered. True power is self-mastery, not control over others. His journal, Meditations, is living proof that no matter who you are or how busy life gets, making time for a daily conversation with yourself is always necessary and always possible. In the first week, you might feel restless, uneasy with yourself. At first, the silence can be suffocating. By the third or fourth day, you might feel impatient, wanting to quit. Your mind will come up with excuses. Too busy. This isn't necessary. I'll do it tomorrow. But if you just keep going, by the fifth day, you'll notice something surprising. An inner voice will start to emerge, a silent guide, quietly nudging you before you act impulsively or lose control. You'll start to catch yourself, spot emotional patterns, and accept personal responsibility, not with harsh self-criticism, but with a simple, honest clarity. In Stoicism, the ancient Romans called it the inner demon, the guiding soul, the wisest part within you. Daily self-reflection is how you converse with and listen to this voice. Once you can truly hear it, you no longer drift passively with circumstances. You become the one who actively steers, turning life into a meaningful journey. At this point, every failure becomes a lesson. Every hardship turns into tuition for your own growth. I realized that after just 7 days of keeping this habit, everything started to shift in a new direction. I no longer felt like a victim of circumstance. I became the one who shaped meaning in every moment. Failures stopped breaking me. Instead, they fueled my curiosity. Why did this happen? What could I do differently? Each time I drew a lesson, I discovered a new layer of peace, not the passive kind, but the steady calm of knowing I can get up, learn, and keep moving forward. You might wonder, can just 30 minutes a day really make a difference? Honestly, I had my doubts too. But then I read the Stoic Week 2020 report. In just 1 week of practicing Stoic habits, over 1,000 participants reported noticeable improvements in their emotions, life satisfaction, and personal effectiveness. The results aren't just numbers, they're real experiences. Simply by setting aside 30 minutes each day for self-reflection and applying Stoic principles, many people found themselves calmer, less stressed, and more in control. They discovered that true transformation doesn't require extraordinary effort. It begins in those quiet moments when you pause, look deeply within, and learn to live with intention. You can try it too, just 30 minutes a day, and in a week you'll see the difference. Or think of the film The Pursuit of Happiness. Chris Gardner, in the midst of cold, desperate nights, never stopped asking himself, "What do I need to do next? Am I getting closer to the person I want to become?" That is the spirit of 30 minutes of reflection, not stopping at sadness, but daring to face it and turning it into the drive to move forward. So tonight, set aside 30 minutes. No devices, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Write, reflect, or simply sit quietly. Give yourself the chance to truly understand yourself. That's the greatest gift you, as a warrior of the modern world, can give yourself. And if you need a commitment to begin, I make time to know myself deeply. 7 days, 30 minutes each night, see how your life will change. Habit number 3, move sweat daily. 7 days. As I write these lines, I have reached my 7th day of moving my body every single day. I didn't start this streak out of any grand ambition. I started because I was stuck. Travel, work, and the hundreds of must-dos in modern life had turned me into an expert at making excuses. If the environment wasn't perfect, I'd skip my workout. If I was busy, I'd tell myself, I'll exercise tomorrow. And tomorrow would become next week, next month, and soon I would become a worn-out, exhausted version of myself without knowing why. Working out became a burden, a task to check off, even a punishment. I blamed fatigue, a lack of time, or simply not having enough motivation. It was a cycle of frustration. The lazier I got, the more tired I felt. The more tired I felt, the lazier I became. My motivation kept fading until I finally realized that if I kept waiting for inspiration, I'd never break free. So I made a decision: cut out all excuses. I set 2 rules for myself. Work out every day. No exceptions. Every workout has to push me. It can't be something I just pick for convenience. If I'm not sweating, if it's not a challenge, I know I'm only fooling myself. Now, after more than 7 days, I don't feel like I can stop anymore. Do you see yourself in this story? For many of us men living in a busy world, we tend to disconnect from our own bodies without even realizing it. There's a truth I once ignored. The body and the mind are never separate. In Stoic philosophy, body and mind form an inseparable whole. Marcus Aurelius didn't just meditate or journal, he wrestled, boxed, and pushed himself to the edge of his physical limits. Seneca, despite poor health, hiked long distances and took cold baths. He said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." For the Stoics, physical movement wasn't just about being healthy. It was a way to forge mental qualities, endurance, resilience, and self-discipline. But people like us in the modern world often lose that connection. Exercise becomes a tool to fix flaws, a punishment for a less than perfect body. Social media is flooded with before and after photos, muscles and six-packs, turning movement into a performance instead of a real experience. The result? We start to hate exercise, avoid challenges, and live disconnected from ourselves. Many people live in their heads, chasing deadlines, emotions, and dreams, forgetting that the body is the temple they need to care for. But movement isn't about fixing your body. It's a reminder that you're alive, that you have the power to change. I've learned that every time I run, dance, jump rope, or lift weights, I'm not just moving my arms and legs. I'm releasing trapped energy, anxiety, anger, and fatigue. When I sweat, endorphins surge and cortisol drops. I start feeling happier, sleeping more deeply, and thinking more clearly. This isn't just theory, it's chemistry, it's spiritual. I can feel that I'm truly alive, truly present. You don't need a fancy gym. You don't need a perfect schedule. What you need is commitment. Every day, move enough to break a sweat. 30 minutes. Run, swim, box, jump rope, lift weights, practice yoga, or even just dance to your favorite song. Every day. Don't stress about the level or the form. The most important thing, consistency over intensity. Every workout is a face-off with yourself, facing laziness, the fear of failure, and the worry of not being good enough. Every excuse is just a mask for the real fear, fear of change. This is exactly the spirit of voluntary discomfort the Stoics talked about. They chose hardship fasting, sleeping on hard floors, taking cold showers to remind themselves, you can handle more than you think. For me, moving every day is the modern version of that practice. Every time I overcome laziness, I lay another brick in the foundation of self-trust. I can keep promises to myself. And after 3 days, I sleep better. 5 days, my mood stabilizes, I get less irritable, and I worry less about trivial things. 7 days, I feel a quiet pride, no need to show off, just something I know inside. That's the feeling of someone being reborn. Now I understand. The body is a sacred temple, not a tool for punishment. Training the body is really about training the mind. Train your mind and your whole life will change. Every time I move, every drop of sweat, I remind myself, I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I am the master of myself. Give it a try. Not for the perfect body, not for some new self. Just to remember you are still alive. Just to affirm you still have the power to change. And when you do that, even for just a week, you'll realize true freedom begins with mastering your mind through every movement of your body. Right now, declare, your body is the only place you have to live. Treat it like a sacred temple with gratitude, not shame. Move, sweat, live, and start taking charge of your mind today. Habit number 4. Digital detox for 2 to 3 hours. In today's world, disconnecting from technology is becoming more difficult than ever. From smartphones and laptops to social media and streaming services, we are constantly surrounded by screens and notifications that relentlessly pull at our attention. As a result, we are spending more time on our devices than ever before. Have you ever noticed how many times a day you unlock your phone? The average is over 2,600 times per day. That doesn't even include the total of 4 hours each day spent on devices, almost a quarter of our waking hours. Behind every unlock, every buzz, is an invisible hook of dopamine. A new notification, someone liking your post, an email coming in, an endless news feed that keeps you scrolling. While technology undoubtedly brings many benefits, it can also have negative impacts on our mental health, physical health, relationships, and overall well-being. You're not alone in this. I've been there too. There were mornings when the first thing I did was reach for my phone, scroll through what others had just posted, and read news that had nothing to do with my actual life. By the time I put the device down, the emptiness lingered, a slight discomfort, and then I found myself picking it up again. This isn't just a habit, it's an intentionally designed addiction mechanism. Designers in Silicon Valley have hired neuroscientists and applied reward algorithms to keep you hooked for as long as possible, because your attention is what they turn into profit. What's even more troubling is that these apps aren't built to support your happiness or personal growth. They exist to capture your attention and keep you scrolling. Every feature, every notification, every infinite feed is designed to pull you back in. As Ryan Holiday once warned, you are the product. Your focus, your data, your habits, these are what gets sold to advertisers and turned into profit. Every minute you spend trapped in someone else's algorithm is a minute stolen from your own life, a minute you can never reclaim. Over time, these small moments add up. Hours turn into days, days into months, and suddenly you realize your time, your most precious, non-renewable asset, has slipped away, traded for digital noise. This is why it's crucial to reclaim your mind and attention, to invest your time where it truly matters, in your growth, your purpose, your real life. The result? We become less able to focus, more anxious, more reactive than proactive, constantly comparing ourselves to an online world and gradually losing touch with our real emotions. Under this subtle influence, we lose our ability to fully live in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." Epictetus reminds us, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." We cannot control the world out there, the news, social media, or the emotions of others, but we can always control where we place our attention. The power to master our attention is the power to own our inner freedom. I tried something. Each day, I set aside 2 to 3 hours completely free from any digital devices. No phone, no email, no social media, no TV. At first, I felt an emptiness, an itch, like a part of me was missing. That was the dopamine detox phase. My mind refused to settle down. My hands kept reaching for my phone. My thoughts felt restless, sometimes even hollow. But after the 3rd day, clarity began to emerge. My mind felt calmer. I reacted less to my surroundings, and my anxiety faded. I sat down with a real book and found myself able to focus in a way I never had before. I had real conversations with people around me, without being distracted. I walked under the sun, felt the breeze, and noticed that the sky was clearer than I'd ever imagined. From day 5 to day 7, something truly transformative happened. I experienced real freedom. I was in control of my time, filled with energy to create, to journal, to brainstorm for work, or simply to quietly observe the world. In those moments, I reconnected with myself, with loved ones, and with nature, and realized the world is so much bigger than any screen. If you try a digital detox just 2 or 3 hours a day, pick a set time, early morning or late afternoon. Leave your phone in another room. Turn off all notifications. Lock your apps if you have to. Replace screen time with something real. Read, write, exercise, talk face-to-face, cook, or simply gaze at the sky. Gradually, you'll rediscover the feeling of being present and find yourself calmer, more intentional, and clear-minded. Stoicism doesn't reject technology, but it insists you are the master, not the servant. Your attention belongs to you, not to them. And remember, memento mori, your time is finite. Every minute gone is a minute you can never reclaim. Don't let a single day go by with your attention stolen. Digital detox is more than a habit. It's an act of reclaiming your self-mastery. It's the foundation for freedom and peace of mind. Try starting today. Pause. Set your device aside. Take a deep breath. Step outside and experience every moment for what it truly is. That is freedom, and you deserve it. Habit number 5. Evening preparation plan for tomorrow. Not long ago, I talked about the importance of morning routines. The moment you weave your goals into each day, right from the instant the world begins to wake. When everything is still quiet and the night hasn't quite faded, that's the perfect time to plant the seeds for a day lived with intention. But you know, there's another quiet stretch we often overlook. It only takes 10 to 30 minutes before bed, but it can create changes far beyond what you might expect. The time you spend preparing for tomorrow, tonight. Even though evening routines are often underrated, for me, they're the key to unlocking a string of peaceful, proactive mornings. Darren Hardy, editor of Success magazine, once said, "Morning and evening routines are the keys to a successful life." The better you prepare at both ends of the day, the stronger your mind will be in the face of any challenge ahead. If you've ever listened to my advice to try waking up early, reading, and letting yourself unwind before bed, maybe you've already felt some of the benefits. But simply going to bed early isn't enough. What really matters is how you intentionally close out the day and how you get yourself ready to win tomorrow morning. I used to think daily success was decided in the morning, but the more I experienced, the more I realized. Every morning is actually an inner battle. You know the feeling right as you wake up. Your mind is already chaotic. Thoughts pile up. Your energy is scattered, and emotions pull you in every direction. Many days, I was just reacting passively, swept along by work and worries. That isn't living, that's drifting. So I asked myself, what if the victory was prepared before I even woke up? The answer is simple. Prepare at night, win the next day. Stoic philosophy is clear. Preparation is power. True strength doesn't come from the moment you face a problem, but from when you quietly prepare. The evening is your golden window to design the next day, so when you open your eyes in the morning, you already have a map. Seneca once wrote, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." The future is always uncertain. Only action in this moment is real. So how can an evening routine truly transform you? I chose 4 steps for myself, each one rooted in Stoic philosophy and grounded in daily life. Step 1. Identify the 3 most important priorities for tomorrow. You don't need countless goals. Focus is power. I sit down, open my notebook, and write out the 3 most important things I need to accomplish tomorrow, clearly and specifically. No vagueness, no generalities. Because wherever things are unclear, procrastination will take root. Ambiguity. is where procrastination lives. Step 2. Anticipate obstacles and prepare your responses. This is when I practice premeditatio malorum, imagining in advance what could get in my way. It might be procrastination, fear, an unwanted meeting, or simply a lazy mood. I write them down and lay out specific responses ahead of time. For example, knowing I usually don't want to get up early, I decide to count down from 5 and get out of bed immediately. If I'm afraid of failure, I remind myself that failure is part of the process. Accept it, then take action. Step 3. Prepare your environment. I tidy up my desk, lay out my clothes, and get everything ready for the morning. As Ryan Holiday once said, remove friction, make the right choice, the easy choice, eliminate barriers, make the right choice, the easiest one to make. Step 4. Align your tasks with your energy rhythm. I ask myself, what should I do when my energy is high, and what can wait until I'm more relaxed? Work with your rhythm, not against it. Leverage your own natural flow instead of forcing yourself to work against it. I often reflect on Epictetus's words, "We cannot control external events, only our intentions and preparations." When I prepare ahead of time, I'm proactive. I feel less anxious, less helpless. Preparation isn't about hiding from challenges, it's about welcoming them, knowing that no matter what tomorrow brings, I'm ready for what I can control. The result. After just 3 days of practice, my mornings felt calmer and clearer. After a week, I had momentum, a steady drive, free from impulsiveness. The difference doesn't come from huge changes, but from feeling proactive and in control between drifting through life and directing it. Stoics don't just survive the day, they are the architects of their own lives. Every night, I become the one who draws up the blueprint for tomorrow. Seneca was right. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Luck doesn't show up by accident. It's the result of persistent preparation. Practice this for just 7 consecutive nights, and you'll feel the transformation. From chaos to choice, from impulsiveness to intention. I've experienced it myself, and I believe you will too. And I promise, I prepare tonight. I execute tomorrow. I win every day. Just 7 days. Just 5 habits. A small experiment, but a turning point that can change your entire life. Choose discipline over distraction. Prove to yourself that you can master your mind, because real strength begins within, regardless of external circumstances. That's the core of Stoicism. You control your thoughts, your reactions, you decide the course of your life. Once you truly become present, living each moment fully, you'll never want to go back to sleepwalking through life, rushing and disconnected. Suddenly, everything becomes clearer, every action carries meaning. But change doesn't come from good intentions, it comes from real action, starting right now, without waiting. Are you ready to make that commitment to yourself? Which habit will you try first in the next 7 days? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your commitment. If this video inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the next videos. Your journey to mastering your mind and living with Stoic philosophy is just beginning.